Warning. Warning. Warning.
Okay, brothers and sisters and misses and misters, here's your daddy-o with the sounds to go. No shucking, no jive, and I'm telling you, your music's arriving.
Hey, I'm Largo. This is still The Lair. And tonight, we're going to hang out in the lounge and kick it old school. We're going to be talking about some tunage, talking about some getting the grind on, finding that thing that gets you where you need to go. Your favorite music. What is it? Where'd you find it? How did it get into your soul and your brain and all that good stuff? And to help me figure all that out, it's my co-pilot, Wilhelm.
Hey, how's it going?
It's getting there. It's been a long day, but
it's good.
It's almost over.
I had no problem getting into the lounge today, so I'm happy.
Cheers. Nice.
Yeah. Eduardo must have been in a good mood because I just walked right on it.
He's been a little rowdy earlier, but, I think he's getting to know you. Well, if we're going to talk some tunage, let's bring on somebody who can help us to get our groove on, help us to understand what it is to really enjoy some classic music and get where you need to go with it. So without further ado, let me introduce our guest for this evening.
Hell yeah. What an intro.
That was great. I might need to tell Ted to step his game up.
That's right. Dare I say, it's hella dope.
It is hella dope.
Absolutely. I couldn't be more excited to be here today and share the screen with Aaron.
It's a pleasure.
Very cool. I am very much enjoying this. Welcome to the lounge, Aaron. Apologies. Aaron was supposed to be with us when we did the BCs and Baddies on the Bad Boys of Wrestling. Due to scheduling conflicts on my part, he wasn't able to be in that. So I said, would you come to the lounge? Would you let me do that with you? He's like, sure. So thank you for being a good sport.
Yes, anytime, man. Glad to be on the lounge, talk some good music.
Yeah.
And just so you know, I put a Linktree link, which everyone should have a Linktree because it's got all the links. And it's in the chat right above. You just scroll back up, people.
There it is.
And I want you to click every single one of those links and smash every single like button, subscribe, everything, and support our friend Aaron here.
And I would blush if I could. Speaking
of support, he's double fisting the drinks for you tonight. Ted is there in solidarity, brother.
Yes. Got to have the hella dope mug.
That's it. Wift is in the house. Good to see you, Bill. What else we got going on here? James from Ratface44. Sup, dude?
What's up, man? Nice hauls the other day. I love that video.
Oh, yeah. That was cool. It's always great to see when you can find some cool vintage bits or, maybe go on the hunt. Haven't been able to do that in a long time. I miss that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, even having our own business, I love to go out for the hunt every once in a while. Just to find some goodies,
Point on the doll where the music hurts you. That's for the After Dark show, Ted. Bjorn This did just start, pretty much.
Yeah,
You haven't
good
missed
timing.
anything. So, shambolic, or however you say it.
Yeah, I think it's Schmodulok.
Yes, Ted, it was a killer intro. Next time you're on, you got to step up your game, man. We got to get
Absolutely.
you the got to get you balling.
Get you
But
did you look that up online?
I did. That's what the cool kids are saying these days.
I think so. I haven't fact checked that yet. I mean,
Aaron's
that's not a lie,
happy.
though.
Happy he doesn't have to manage the chat tonight. Is that true?
Man, it is. You guys get wild in that chat every once in a while, man. It's hard to keep up with everything that's going on. But you know what? Hands off the mouse. I ain't even touching it today.
All good. And Axion Figs, good to see you.
Hey,
Evening,
how's
everybody.
it going?
That's your favorite Super Wrench over on your guys' channel, right?
Yes, Axion.
Cool.
He is a great supporter of the Hella Dopes.
Nice. He's a hella doper.
He is a hella doper.
I was wondering if you could help me with a little flocking for my dome here. Maybe.
He knows a guy.
I mean, I'm getting up there myself, you know.
So let me see what's going on in the chat because my tired old eyes can't see that print very well. Where am I? Oh, Bjorn's been shopping. Got some goodies for you today, Largo. Nice. He has definitely been our man in Havana. He's been working in a toy shop, so anytime something cool, swag-wise, comes through there, he gives us a heads up. His Walmart has been noted as being the place that has all the cool stuff you like. So anytime there's a exclusive, I hate using that word, or something that I can't get here in the boonies, Bjorn's like, I got you. So thank you.
Maybe I need me a Bjorn here.
Dude, it is a very handy thing. That's the great thing about, getting into the collector community. You find people that are in different regions, and sometimes they get different stock that comes through their way. And it's like, I'm looking for XYZ. They're like, yeah, I got that. Mm-hmm. Like, well, pass it on, man.
Let's go. I got money. Let's go.
That's it. Money I have. Opportunity I do not. And Bjorn says, I have a new idea for t-shirt. Interesting.
We'll have to get together and talk.
Merchandising. And what else we got going here? You're not the first guy to ask me to flock your head. It's a science.
And actually, it would be a hilarious if we did like a parody, Hair Club for Men kind of video with
some Joes.
Yeah.
I'm not just a client; I'm a user.
That's right. Hey, some of these guys, I've been doing some research for upcoming projects, and they do some awesome custom work, taking some of those 12-inch Joes, bringing them back to life, reflocking, getting the fro on for some of them, and it's interesting because it's a science almost. I mean, I've never been a huge fan of the flock, but like with the Joe heads, it works. I mean, it makes sense. Panther, not so much. Not much on the flock Panther. Too much. I think we're caught up with the chat pretty much. So, excuse me. Too many tasty beverages. Let's talk some tunage.
I'm always down to talk some good tunes.
So we were kicking around some ideas, and it's like, poor Aaron, he gets pummeled with hella dope toy questions. It's like, let's talk something else. It's like, well, what are some other interests? I know you're into wrestling. I know you got some interest there, but it's like, what kind of tunes you into? What discs were you spinning back in the day? I mean, I'm vintage. I'm over 50. So for me, back in the day, it was AM, then switching into the FM. Mm-hmm. That's where you found out about your tunes. You were making your mixtapes on cassette. You had those. Yeah. Yeah. We had actual music stores where you could actually go in and flip through and see what was coming. You had
I used to work at one.
There you go. You had favorite DJs that would promote certain things. This was even before MTV, kids. So we were back in the day.
Oh yeah.
And so finding your tunes were a huge part of growing up, especially when you get into high school, because it was all about what clique are you in? Are you a heavy metal headbanger? Are you an R&B hip hop dude? Are you country when country wasn't cool?
Right.
You know, I was a little bit of all that, but you know,
Yeah.
some of it comes from parents. You know, for me, my parents were into like the outlaw country, so Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, that kind of stuff. But then again, Dad was really big into Creedence Clearwater Revival, CCR, John Fogerty.
Sure.
So he had a little bit of rock in there, and that's probably where my flavor started. And then I just kind of experimented as I got older. Where'd you guys start, Aaron? What was kind of some of your early stuff, musical influence?
I mean, like when we talked in the green room, like a lot of mine come from my parents. My brother and sister, they're both like 9 and 12 years older than me, so I listen to a lot of what they listen to. Prince, Janet Jackson, the Isleys. So my musical taste just came from that. I didn't really get into like my own until maybe I was probably like 7th, 8th grade, like right before high school, where I started finding my own. What do I like? And it just kind of blew up from there. And like you just said, you kind of hit it right there on the nail. Like as you get into different groups, you kind of learn, like you leech on to what they're listening to, just kind of fit in, and then you just end up like, oh man, I like this.
Ted's trying to tell stories. I keep forgetting you guys have known each other forever. So he's like, Aaron used to have a 60-disc CD changer in the trunk of his car.
Nice.
I don't know about 60, but it was a lot.
Well, you had the different cartridges, right? You could you'd pull over, swap them out, and each one would have like 5 or 10 discs in it.
Yes, sir. Yeah. You gotta have the best ones in because you get lazy. You don't want to like switch them out until you like get to where you're going.
Exactly. Laser Pants into some punk. Hey, I did not know that. But, I figured Seattle had been into the grunge thing, but we'll talk about some punk too.
I mean, when you got a nice beard and hairstyle like Laser Pants does, I mean, it doesn't surprise me.
That's right. We're seeing people popping in with all kinds of genre.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah,
hardcore.
I mean, hardcore gets interesting because everyone defines hardcore differently.
Yeah.
So actually, I'm really curious on what like Rat Face. What are your thoughts on like what do you call hardcore?
Mm-hmm.
Well, since I've met Grindhead Jim, it definitely flavored it because he's very much into what he calls grindcore, which is like a whole different genre. But for me, it'd be like early influences be I'm thinking like Rammstein, kind of that German industrial sound. But then again, I like stuff like Cam FDM, which is I kind of would consider hardcore, but other people would be like, "No, man, that's more industrial. It's a different thing." I'm like,
well, I think they made that more obvious in the soundtrack for the first Mortal Kombat movie. I mean that was kind of really like their like coming out party.
Yeah, and that's definitely another influence is soundtracks and movies on music. That was huge in the 80s and 90s. A lot of whatever was in the zeitgeist for music came from what was in popular cinema or even television, some of it.
Yeah, and in some cases, your favorite band would release a song that was exclusive to that movie soundtrack.
Yes.
You couldn't get it anywhere else. So you might buy that soundtrack just to record the one song from your favorite artist or even discover some extra ones there, So I remember...
That's true. Ryan makes a good point here. Argument could be made that outlaw country is the first iteration of punk rock. He's not wrong. I would agree with that because they were very much the Nashville rebels. They were on the outside. They were looked down on by the industry, and they were just like, man, I'm going to do my thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that was very much the punk scene as well.
Mm-hmm.
So very cool. Bjorn says his musical tastes came from video games.
Yeah, I saw you put in there Grand Theft Auto. I mean, like GTA 3 to me was probably like the starting block of like really good music and video games. And then they took it to like Vice City and San Andreas, like all the radio stations. Super cool and really good music. Loved it.
Yeah. And of course, Jeremy's classic. That's his rendition of hardcore, perhaps. I don't know. I don't see Jeremy as a hardcore. I'm seeing him more of a
boy bands.
Boy bands, cute haircuts,
Backstreet Boys all day.
Maybe some Village People. If the Village People had a Coast Guard member, he'd be all over. I'm just saying.
Well,
that's
maybe
the rumor.
I mean, I think he got selected and they had to cut him. I think that's what it was.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's sad. That's sad.
Something about backstage things needed to happen, and he wasn't. I
He
don't know
wasn't
the
down
full
for that.
story. That's just what I heard.
Well, we'll have to talk to Laserpants to get the real deal because he seems to have the inside scoop.
Exactly.
Ratface says, I'm straight up metalhead now. Woo! Bang your head. Nothing wrong with that. We've even got some Irish punk. Interesting.
Ooh.
I would like to know what flavor that is.
Absolutely. I've been getting back into sea shanties. Mainly my son. My son has gotten me back into sea shanties because he plays the same song over and over again. So now it gets stuck in my head.
That was one thing when my kids were little. It's like, you'd buy them. Well, we had books on tape and stuff like that. And of course, it'd have a favorite that just want to play ad nauseum, especially if you're on a road trip. And it's like,
oh yeah,
if you play that jingle one more time, it's going right out the window. I'm done.
Yep.
I can't go another 50 miles with that.
50 miles, you're being generous.
Was anyone else into Gregorian chants for those few months in the 90s? Yes. I cannot remember the name of the band, but they were really in vogue for a minute. Was it Enigma? I want to say Enigma. Yeah. That was a cool sound. It was something different, but it just kind of hit.
Wow. Oh, yeah. Oh my God. Yes.
Totally worked.
Amazing.
Old school stuff. Bad Brains, Minor Threat. Yeah.
Very nice.
Definitely headbanging. And I can't argue with this. An argument could be made that Ryan can't post figures. If posing style is vanilla, then Ryan's all over it. But other than that, I got to give it to Jeremy.
That's why I keep mine in a box. You don't have to worry about posing it.
There you go.
I thought of that. As an inbox collector, that is a plus. Nobody can criticize your stylings for posing.
I mean, look at this Mike Tyson. Still posable, but just
looking good. And Eldor, good to see you. And all right. Yeah, I think now we're kind of sort of caught up with the chat. World Made of Cardboard, good to see you, sir. We're talking some old school tunage. Might even hit some favorites from you back in the day. We'll see. But let's start with I asked the guys to just kind of pick some of their favorites, whether it be a favorite album or a favorite artist. And so we'll just kind of go through and see some stuff. Sadly, because we are on the YouTube platform, we can't play the music without getting spanked.
Yeah.
So go to Spotify, go to YouTube Music, whatever flavor you like, and listen to them after the show, because that's what we're going to do.
I got my pen and paper. I'm going to jot some of these down.
There you go. And you can always replay and catch something. So right off the bat, we're going old school. Jimi Hendrix experience.
You have to start. Jimi Hendrix, this man was in a world of his own, and he was so far ahead of the music game that it's a shame that he was part of that 27-year death cycle. Because I would always want to imagine what music would have been like if he would have lived into his 40s, 50s with the way he was going.
There was a whole series of guys that never made it past 22.
Yep. Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, more recently Morrison, Amy Winehouse, all died at 27.
Crazy. And this I didn't know. Professionally, he only really performed for about 4 years. That was his professional career.
Yep.
But he had such an influence on music, the legacy, and so many artists that looked to him for inspiration. Mm-hmm. I would even say some of today's artists would go back and say, it was Hendrix that got me into playing the guitar.
Absolutely. If it wasn't for him, it wasn't him. I mean, you could throw in names like B.B. King. Eric Clapton was another big one. I mean, Eddie Vedder. I mean, there's so many that you could pick in the guitar world.
Oh yeah,
there's so much more than just the mainstream hits. Listening to any album, you'll find that there is much more than the ones that everyone knows. That they played on the radio.
And there's a lot of the crossover stuff like Stevie Ray Vaughan Carlos Santana.
You want to hear a horrible story about Jimi Hendrix? So when my son was in like 6th grade, he had to do a project. I forget what it was about, but it was basically about bringing in a song, and he had to write down the lyrics and kind of just recite them and kind of just break them down. And we chose Voodoo Child, right? Slight Return. We chose that song, and he was booed in his classroom.
What?
For it, and
Horrible.
felt terrible about it because he loved the song. I used to play it all the time, and no one liked it because everyone picked like modern stuff, and so he came home all disappointed. And I just said, "Son, this is one of those moments where every one of those people that rejected what you're talking about is going to regret it someday."
I guarantee you, at least half of those went home and listened to the song, and now like, oh man,
oh yeah,
this is it.
So I thought I was doing my son a great service when he came and he said, "I have this project, and it has to be a song about I think it was something like abstract or something like that." And I said, "I have just the song for you," and I played it. We listened to it. We wrote down the lyrics and everything, and it's one of those proud dad moments. And then when he came home disappointed, I was like, "Boo to them!"
Yeah,
it's not you, son.
Okay, so James is letting us know. Pogues, Dropkick Murphys, that would be kind of Irish punk. I've heard of them.
I've definitely listened to Dropkick Murphys. Love them.
Mm-hmm.
Floggin' Molly, I've heard of them.
Floggin' Molly is another good one.
Yeah, very cool. Good to know. And Ted Darklaw says Hendrix got me into guitar. There you go.
He did. That's very true. I mean, countless hours of listening and trying to strum in that guitar.
Bradley Noel,
Kurt
Cobain.
Yeah.
And I would say of all of anything from that classic rock era, Jimi Hendrix stands the test of time. I could put it on today, and there's nothing I'm ever sick of when it comes to him. So,
absolutely.
I think we've gotten in the middle of a domestic squabble here. You kids play nice.
No ice cream for you. We'll turn this car
That's
around.
right. I'm not wild about remakes, but Stevie Ray's version of Little Wing was fantastic.
I agree.
Yeah,
absolutely.
When it's an homage or when somebody kind of puts their spin on it, I can dig that. And my favorite is watching B.B. King back in the day doing call and response with other artists and seeing how they interpret something on stage live. And it's like, man, that's just cool to watch. Rockabilly's good. I'm right there with Axion. I do dig.
Love the Stray Cats.
There's the Cherry Poppin' Daddies. There was one out of Portland. Big Bad Voodoo Daddy, I think.
Yep.
That was another good one. They were fun for a minute. It's still catchy stuff. TJC, yeah. Good to see you. Good morning for you, evening for us. What's Ted got to say here? Another musical fact about Aaron. Oh boy,
he's trying to make me do a. He's going to try to get me to do a spit take. It's not happening. Okay?
Back in '96.
This is a true story, though. I will let you tell the story.
Tell us about this. So he says another musical fact about Aaron is back in '96. We walked 2 miles so that he could buy No Doubt's Tragic Kingdom and a Weird Al CD. Both were bangers. Which Weird Al was it?
Bought.
Oh, acquired.
Acquired conveniently. It was Bad Hair Day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. No, we went. So we're. I think this was like the summer before our freshman year of high school. So, we're bored. We're a bunch of teenage kids with nothing to do. So we go up to this store and let's then we had
Jeremy says maybe it should have been Dare to Be Stupid.
I have it still. I have it. But we had our own little bike shop. So we always we wanted music to listen to. And back then there was no MP3 players and none of that. So I think that was just right when MTV had debuted No Doubt Spider Webs as their debut song. And I'm like, man, I love this song. So I had to buy the CD. Get the CD because I was poor. and who doesn't like Weird Al Yankovic?
Of course.
Amish Paradise was huge.
I was going to say, one of the best live shows I've ever been to. I think it was even in 2005 or 2006. And one of my employees bought me tickets for my birthday, and I went to this live show, and it just blew me away. How the costume changes, the sound, everything. I mean, he was fantastic.
I really want to see the movie that Daniel Radcliffe is in. Like he portrays Weird Al, and actually Weird Al picked him to play him in this movie. So I'm really curious.
And the movie in and of itself is like a parody. It's like a kind of like the Dewey Cox kind of what they call that. It's not really a mockumentary. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. Very interesting choice, Metallica.
So that was my first kind of like introduction to rock. Like, what I would say like rock music. Like it's still kind of in my infancy phase. Enter Sandman came on, and like I love the drum rolls and just everything about the song was just fun. Just I loved it.
When was that? 1990, I guess. That
91 or
93,
92, 93, somewhere there. Yep.
But yeah, we stayed up all night and went to Kmart to buy the new Metallica album. That was just the Black Album, and we had just enough money for it, but we didn't figure tax correctly, so we were like 12 cents short, and the cashier was like, "Nope." So we had to sit outside because we walked like 2 miles to this Kmart.
So you had to bum change to get that.
Yeah, we had to stand outside and bum change, and we got rejected quite a bit. It took like 3 hours to make 12 cents. And finally, some guy was just like, "Here's $1."
Like 12 cents.
We bought it and we walked home with like a boombox, listening to it, walking down the railroad tracks, and and then that summer blew up, and it was everywhere. So,
I mean, like, Jordan asked you a good question. Was there ever a song in a game or movie that didn't fit said media?
Oh, I'm sure there is. If I sat long enough, I'm sure I could rattle off a couple that I could think of. But I mean, they do usually do a really good job of trying to interpret like what's happening to a song that fits it.
Yeah,
usually.
Yeah, Weird Al is actually a very good musician, including the accordion. And Bjorn says he was yes,
born in the mid '90s, so this album is probably older than Bjorn Jorgensen.
Yeah, but he's an old soul. He likes some classic stuff. And yes, Enter the Sandman was everywhere when this came out. You couldn't turn on a radio without hearing this, and it was a banger.
I mean, Sandman from ECW. That was his song. He come out with his kendo stick. He had his beers. He busts on his head. I mean, yes. Like that song, and then God, I can't even think of it now. There's another one. It'll come to me later when I spew it out later. You'll be like, "What are you talking about?" But it refers back to this. Like,
yes, Ryan. I'm constantly reminded by Bjorn how much younger he is than us. But we don't hold
Metallica. Ride the Lightning. My friend put it on my ears in 7th grade, and he was like, "Listen to this," and I was just.
Like Load and Reload are good, like honorable mentions. Honestly, the S&M live album that they did with the orchestra, very underrated, very good.
Cute. James Kent says Superman's favorite album is Justice for All. Indeed, as it should be. So great album. I did not realize it was just Metallica. It was self-titled, but everybody calls it the Black Album.
Yes.
Yeah.
Released 5 singles to promote it. Enter the Sandman, The Unforgiven, Nothing Else Matters, Wherever I May Roam, and Sad But True.
It's sitting right there, and I'm trying to think of the name of the song.
That's why I put the stuff on the slides, man, because I can't remember this stuff.
I was saying, you didn't say I had to read them.
Nah, you don't have to. It's all good. But all of them are considered some of their best tunes. And I definitely agree. And then from there, we're going for some Californication.
Yes.
Gesundheit.
So this wasn't like the intro for me. Blood Sugar Sex Magic was the first Red Hot Chili Peppers that I listened to. But this album for me is one of those albums that you could just play beginning to end. uninterrupted, just great songs all the way through. I mean, it has everything that you could ever want. Like you've got your good high songs. You've got those songs that just kind of puts you in the feels. Like I have to see this band like tomorrow.
Yeah, I was gonna say one of my biggest regrets never seeing them live. You know, I was introduced to them with Mother's Milk. Was my my friend put that on my ears and was like, listen to this.
That was an Aeroplane.
They it was the one before Blood Sugar Sex Magic.
Yeah.
So and then I just remember like me and my friends, you know, this was like, you know, anytime we put this on, you know, this was like the hangout music. You know, we throw this on, and everyone knew, you know, you're playing. And it was one of those bands where we didn't really have fights over this. I don't know if you guys ever had that, but you know, you'd be hanging out somewhere, you'd have the boombox, and someone put a tape in, and people were like, "Shut this crap off! Let's watch it. Yeah, let's listen to this." And
put on some Quiet Riot.
Yeah. So, because we had friends from all different, you know, backgrounds, and you know,
Zazel's in the house. Sergeant Slaughterhouse. Good to see you, sir. Yeah, there's some great memories around music and some.
I got thrown out of a graduation party for playing.
What did you do?
Special secret song inside. I don't know if you guys know the song, but it's a Red Hot Chili Pepper song, and
a tad inappropriate
vulgar lyrics, and I thought it would be funny, and it was not received well.
Well, and that's one thing. Yeah, they definitely point out here. 7th album, and the lyrics of most of the songs definitely incorporated the sexual innuendos already associated with the band. But this album added themes like death, suicide, living in California, dealing with drugs, globalization, and travel. Yeah. So they were expanding their repertoire, going into some deeper stuff, and people went along for the ride. And
well, I mean, this was also kind of the part where in Red Hot Chili Peppers, like as a band, where they went through a lot of hard time. Like, they had split up for a while. They came back together. I think they lost their drummer. They had to bring a new one in. So like this album was kind of like the accumulation of just all the bad things that could go wrong, made an album that was just fantastic.
Man, these guys are still going at it.
Oh, they'll go all night.
I can remember the day I picked up this album, and you know, I had it in my radio listening to it on the way home.
Can we go to the next comment, please?
I was going to say Ted's humble bragging here.
Yeah,
somebody saw them live.
Yeah, this jerk. Sorry.
You're supposed to be working, Zazel. Shame on you.
I mean, he's at the office. I mean, what more work did this man need to do?
That's true.
Supporting the channel.
Now going to different flavor. Yeah. Notorious B.I.G.
So I mean, nothing says the '90s like.
Oh yeah.
You know, in the best rap form, with the Notorious B.I.G. You know, East Coast versus West Coast with Tupac. This album was kind of what put, you know, Bad Boy Records really on the map. You could not go through this album without somebody. You can quote 2 words from any album of this song, and then people will pick it up right away.
What I really liked was the fact that, I mean, these guys were having a conversation coast to coast through their music.
Yes.
I mean, through the lyrics, through what was going on. I mean, it's like, if you were into this culture, you understood when they put out a particular tune, it's like, oh, damn, he's calling out so-and-so, or, you know.
Yeah, but the crazy thing about this is that, you know, a lot of people who don't know the story is Notorious B.I.G. and Tupac were friends. Like, this was just, you know, I guess you would say childish squabble that turned into a war, basically. And unfortunately, you know, we took losses on both ends, losing 2 iconic, musicians and
artists.
Artists. Every way you want to look at it, they were on top of their games. They changed music as you knew it. they changed music as you know it now, and well, except for now because this music is horrible. But the early 2000s, you got that Eminem, you got Ludacris, all these now rappers that were influenced by what had happened in the early parts of the 90s.
One thing with this album I didn't realize until I started doing a little research was, I mean, I knew it was a sequel to Ready to Die. Yes. I did not realize that it was meant to pick up immediately where the last song ends. Yeah, so you can put these back to back.
Yep. If you were to play Ready to Die, and as soon as it ends, not so much on a CD, but like in Spotify, if you were to put the delay in so it like blends the two together, it just runs all the way in perfectly.
Very cool. And Ted being nice. He's like, Aaron is possibly one of the best people you could have had on for this topic.
Now he's kissing up.
Yeah. I'm loving everything I'm hearing. Can we just say one thing about the album experience that we don't see nowadays? Like people always just get the one hit song or everything, and they don't get deeper into it, where a lot of these artists prepared an entire album that you were supposed to listen to from beginning to end.
Yes. And
it was an experience. The placement of each song in the album and how they ran into each other really created an entire thing that a lot of people fail to realize, or don't go back and listen to.
Absolutely. Like Zazel saying here, you got to see Korn open up for Guns N' Roses. That must have been a really good show. After Korn finished their set, a lot of people just left. Like, I'm good. Yeah.
I mean,
Guns N' Roses was notorious for being late, not showing up, and sounding horrible. I sat through a Metallica Guns N' Roses concert in the early 90s, and they were like 3 hours late.
I believe it.
Like people were booing them when they finally got there. Like people hung around just to boo them and just tell them, and they really didn't sound great. So
yeah, and like Ted's saying here, a lot of times you hanging out in the basement with the guys, putting on some tunage, and somebody's like, "Hey man, check this out." That's where you hear all about a lot of good stuff. If you're not hearing it on the radio, it's a buddy that's into something different and playing it, or in the car. You get in the car with somebody and they have got their tapes there, and you're just like, what the hell is this? Well, put it on. Check it out.
Yep.
Didn't they cover Rick James?
Oh, I can only imagine. If they didn't, I would love to hear it.
I
think it was
mosh pits.
Yeah, Korn has a great mosh pit. I've seen them 3 times now, and each one is just as vicious as the next.
But everybody's there to have a good time.
Oh yeah.
And
of course,
going back to grunge scene.
Yeah, I mean, Nirvana made it cool.
Yeah,
to wear flannel shirts
in the summer.
So, fun fact about Ted Darkclaw, since he wants to pull fun facts on me. Early phase Ted Darkclaw had like the frost tips, and like he would have his hair all. This man, This man would spend like 45 minutes getting his hair right. Well, when Nirvana and that grunge phase, this man grew his hair out. Like it was pretty long. So thank Nirvana for that.
I remember being on the school bus when this song hit. My friend put it up on the radio, and like the bus driver was usually like, hey, you kids, turn that. And he was like, turn that up. Yeah. Really? And he was into it. Yeah. And we were like cheering for this bus driver. We thought he was so freaking cool because he's like, we could listen to this.
He's like that bus driver from Simpsons. Yeah, man, it's cool.
Yeah,
just
man,
get on the bus, play some tunes. Thank you, Zazel. You really should remember to hit that like button.
Yes,
it likes it. It likes it a lot.
It does, especially if you hit it a lot.
That's it. Pericles.
Yeah, they did a word up.
Cameo. That was what it was. I'm sorry. Because I think Rick James. I don't know why I said that. But it was
Cameo, Rick James.
Yeah,
whatever.
Yes. Back when Ted did have hair. I mean, it happens.
I do remember MTV announcing it was a musical revolution. And,
at the time it was. Like,
it was. An alternative was taking over. But I do
you had nothing else that was on the level of what Nirvana was putting out. Like it was completely new. You maybe had some hints of it with some other bands that kind of thought they were doing it, but no. Kurt Cobain says, "Hold my beer. I'm going to show you how it's done, and I'm going to do this for what? I think he did it for 5 years before his demise,
and just always ideas.
Yes,
constantly having great ideas and putting them down, and just taking the pain from his life and pouring it out into lyrics. And some of it is like, how many people were listening to it and just kind of nodding their head, and then years later they go back and listen and go, man, that's dark.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Poor Ted. Ted, you got to clarify, buddy. He says, I cut it when people started mistaking me for a girl from behind. I got my butt slapped by a lot of dudes. Miss those days. You miss the days of the long hair or the butt slapping. That's what you got to clarify.
It's probably both.
But that was
I probably did it myself, honestly. You know, you walk down the hallways at school, and you're like, oh, hey.
Tactic of my gym teachers or the cops or ladies, and then you turn around. I remember that.
Oh boy, yeah, you long-haired hippies. Heard that a lot. There used to be people who would have Nirvana parties. Nice. Play Nirvana albums. Yep. Very cool.
All Nirvana, and take what you like. Enjoy the music and the vibe.
Now that's a kind of I don't know if we call it an urban legend, but is that true? Did the baby, the kid, did he sue?
That was in recent news.
A full lawsuit.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Because if you go back, if you pull up the album cover again, if you look at it, it shows a little
winky dink,
little something there. And with today's cancel culture,
everybody's sensitive.
Like, how dare you show my 8-month-old baby?
I said what I said. All right. I respect that. A great quote is, you listen to the beat when you're happy and the lyrics when you're sad.
I mean, you're right. That's true.
That's a pretty good quote. Yeah.
That is deep. Oh, yeah. I'm seeing Ted. Frosted tips. Nice. The jeans, the wallet chain.
Yeah. You pretty much hit it all right there on the nail there, Jamie. If I will find a picture and post it online. I know one of our friends has it somewhere.
That's great.
Moving right along. We're not going to get through all this tonight. Now, this one is an interesting one. I did not know this. It's one of those where I've listened to Outkast. I never really thought about this particular album, but the album name is very indicative of who these guys were. Yep. It's see if I can pronounce it correctly. It's when you put it together, it's Aquemini.
Yes.
Because it is, Big Boy was Aquarius, like me, and Andre 3000 is Gemini. So it's how they merge their personalities, their musical styles. It's all about how they are as artists, and this was a representation of that musically. And I thought, man, that's cool.
And
very cool.
And the way, if you listen to the album, you hear it in every song. And really, like, this, this was probably outside of like some of the like later stuff they did solo. This album right here was very, I mean, you just can't pick you can't not pick a song that's good. Their first album, Southern Playalistic Cadillac Music, which was a tongue twister within itself, had some great songs, but this album, when they released it, hit after hit after hit.
Oh, yeah.
And it just kept coming.
And that is another thing about old school music. I would buy an album and I would listen to A side, B side, and it was telling a story. And a lot of good albums back in the day, especially in the 80s, in my opinion, you could listen to the entire album and never find a song you didn't like.
Absolutely.
Everything was good. And you're just like, man. And it definitely tells a story, because if you have good engineers, if you've got guys who know how to put an album together, every song flows right into the next one and it makes sense. Ted,
can we boot this man out of the chat, please?
His
that's
Xbox
a good fun fact.
Used to have a dope screensaver, and we would just sit there listening to Outkast and stare at the TV.
It's true. That is true.
Deep, man. I had flying toasters on my computer one time. You guys remember flying toasters?
Sure.
I'm old. Oh, the screensavers back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Beastie Boys.
Beastie Boys, man. You can't. How do you talk about the 90s and not talk about the Beastie Boys?
Some very fun, angry young men.
Yes, I mean the epitome of what I would call like the intro. Well, not with outstanding Aerosmith and Run DMC with their blend.
Sure.
But the Beastie Boys, in my opinion, were the first group to really put together that kind of a rap with a rock feel to it, and it just worked. It was great. I mean, you got everybody that did. If you didn't know who the Beastie Boys were, or you did know, you didn't want to tell your friends. Everybody was listening to.
Hated the Beastie Boys because my sister liked them. And this is when I was licensed still. Like when it came out, my sister was always running around the house, and I was like, I hate these guys. Anyway, hit high school, and then my friends and I listened to Paul's Boutique, which is I think their best album.
So, I was torn between that one and License to Ill. It was a very close toss up.
Yeah.
What I liked about these guys is they were so white it hurt. I mean, they were very white. And they just said, I don't give a damn. We like this style music, and you can't say this belongs to one culture or another. No. This is what we do. And everybody's like, okay, it's cool.
I mean, how many times have you fought for your right to party?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
That is definitely cross-cultural. This stream can go all night. We're all vibing here. All right. We'll go as long as the wheels stay on the bus. Because we're just going through Aaron's picks. We haven't even got through
Will. Oh, yeah. No, sorry, guys. My list is like 18 songs long.
It's all good stuff, man.
But yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. So, speaking of which, let's cruise on over and see what Wilhelm has in his music dossier. Ooh. He's got the show.
Sure. I'll just preface this by saying, like I said, my early influences were just whatever my brother listened to. As I got into high school, junior high and high school, I started meeting friends and developing, some of my own things. The first band I ever got into myself, it's not on this list, but it's Black Sabbath. Oh, and then, then got into Ozzy Osbourne. He launched a solo career. And those were like the ones that were like mine that I thought of, I would turn my friends on to. But then, it was mostly, I got a buddy, Mike, and, if he's ever watching this thing, he's probably my musical guru, guy that...
Did he have 2 turntables and a microphone? Ooh.
He did, yeah. But he was always the guy saying, you got to listen to this, making me tapes, handing them to me, and just introducing me to new stuff. And,
nice.
Most of my things, I will say, 2 of the bands on here, not for everyone. I understand that because I've lived a long life, and every time I mention them, but I'm hoping there's someone in the chat that's going to be like, hell yeah, I've heard of them and I enjoy them too.
We shall see.
I'm ready. Let's go.
We're going all night because Pericles says no sleep till Brooklyn.
And just like a lot of other people, all music genres, from funk to rap to rock, hip hop, heavy metal, classic rock, folk music, all kinds of crazy crap. We listen to it all. And these are just the 3 that when this subject came up, these are the ones that I think some music doesn't stay with you. I've listened to some stuff that I loved when I was a teenager that I'm like, like it.
Bjorn's hitting us with some trivia here. Did you guys know this? Star Wars character Elo Atsi from the sequel trilogy is a reference to the Beastie Boys.
Hello Nasty. Yeah,
Hello Nasty. Yeah. I see it now. Did not know. Learn something new.
Absolutely.
But these are ones that, like I said, to this day I can listen to, and I still like them. So
you do have to fight for your right to party.
To party. Man, I'm listening to the Beastie Boys.
I know. Oh, man. All right, let's get into this. What you got for us?
What kind of crap? This is my absolute
Faith No More. Yes.
All the time. Yeah, Faith No More, the real thing. This album came out when I was in junior high. I found out that they did a cover of Black Sabbath's War Pigs, and that's what got me into them. And then obviously everyone knows the hit Epic. It's the one-hit wonder of this band, and everyone's heard it. It's not my favorite song.
But what is it?
The real thing. Oh, what's it?
What is it?
Debate this all the time.
They never explained what it is. I need to know.
Exactly.
My friend had a theory that it's a part
out.
of the female anatomy that every person desires. But if you listen to the lyrics, that's probably it. But absolutely love this band. One of my favorites. The Real Thing was the first album that I became. There's a song on there called Falling to Pieces, my absolute favorite song on that album. If you want to listen to it, Underwater Love's a great song. From Out of Nowhere is great. And then honorable mentions to Epic and War Pigs, obviously.
Yes, very cool.
But yeah, they did a great job. And then what I really loved about them is their next album. I remember the day I heard this, my friend presented it to me, and I didn't know they came out with it, 1992. Angel Dust. They completely reinvented themselves like they did with just about all their albums. So, there's honorable mentions. I'll mention first Land of Sunshine and Midlife Crisis were the ones that got like the most listens or views, but A Small Victory, Everything's Ruined, and Caffeine are my favorite songs off this album. They also did a killer version of Easy on this album. It was a B-side.
Faith No More is kind of one of those bands. When I was listening to college radio, how they just kind of put stuff on late at night. It's like I would hear this stuff and I'm digging it and I'm not knowing who the band was. I didn't know the name, didn't know the names of the songs, but I'm like, I'm digging the groove. And all the great college stations back in the day, they would be pulling stuff and putting them on. And it's like, they would really go out of their way to find different musical artists.
Although they never found, great commercial success, I always enjoyed them. And, me and my small group of friends were probably, most influenced by this. Yes, and their drummer did make an appearance in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Yes.
He was essential to learning in the future. That's right.
Very cool.
So then their third or fourth studio album, the next one here, King for a Day, Fool for a Lifetime, almost, completely different than the one before that, and some really
kind of reminds me of my wedding.
Amazing songs. Ricochet being my favorite on that album. Evidence and Take This Bottle. Great songs. Honorable mentions, T-Pain. What a Day, and The Gentle Art of Making Enemies. Just what a fantastic album. This is one of those ones I can listen to start to finish and not skip a song. So
you weren't saying T-Pain recently covered War Pigs also. I haven't heard that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Check that out.
Yeah. And then
I love the cover.
Her last album. Oh, it's awesome. Yeah. Some great B-sides and album of the year. It was a pretty funny name for their album.
Pretty presumptuous.
Yeah.
They had high hopes.
Yep. And just some great songs on here. Also, once again, sounding completely different than their previous albums. All three there. Nice.
Cool.
Excellent. But yeah, Ashes to Ashes, got that feeling, Helpless, and honorable mention to Collision and She Loves Me Not, two bangers. Great songs. If you want to just check them out, maybe you'll like them. I know they're not for everyone. Like I said, I've mentioned them many times. And their lead singer was also in a band called Mr. Bungle that has released many studio albums from the 80s, late 80s to the, I think even early 2000s, maybe even later than that. Once again, not for everyone, but some of my favorite stuff out there.
Now this one's kind of an interesting choice. What led you to Fishbone?
I would probably say Red Hot Chili Peppers and my friend Mike. But yeah,
there you go.
But once again, like I go back and I listen to this album, I can listen to start to finish, and I love every single song on it. I would say Fishbone's another one of those bands that kind of changed and reinvented themselves as they went on, and kind of defy genre.
Now, is that because they changed members, changed vibes?
Yeah, they changed members and they changed their sound, and they do a lot of different things. So. Once again, not for everyone, but the ones that hit hard. Question of Life, Mighty Long Way, Ghetto Soundwave, and not honorable mention to Change, which is a great song off this album. Love them all, but just amazing. This album is something I could put on and listen to, like I said, anytime.
Very cool.
Bjorn saying he hasn't heard any of my picks, and I don't doubt it. I doubt you would. But yeah, this next album, Give a Monkey a Brain and He'll Swear He's the Center of the Universe.
I love the album name.
Fantastic songs on this one. My favorite being Unyielding Conditioning. Lemon Meringue, and Drunk Schizo. I don't know if you've ever heard it, but yeah, check it out.
I've dated a drunk schizo.
I think we all have at some point.
And yeah, honorable mention to Properties of Propaganda. Fuck this shit on up.
There you go.
Bjorn, I'll tell you, if you, I mean, it's an overplayed song, but it's probably their best. Go on to Faith No More to listen to Epic, and just let that song fill you, and then the rest will just come. But Epic is a great song to start off on.
Yeah. So yeah, and then this was one of my favorites because it was Fishbone 101. Nutosaurus Meg, Fossil Fueling the Funky. Has the Party at Ground Zero. They have a great version of Ugly, and it's just that UGLY, you ain't got no alibi. You're just ugly. It's a great song. And It's a Wonderful Life. Great. And then honorable mention to Love and Bullshit. Yeah.
Okay. I got to check these out. I have not heard these.
I think it's not for everyone, but this is, if we're going to talk about,
you got to.
A Tribe Called Quest, man. This is my band right here. These guys, this was influenced from my brother. You know, he started with A Tribe Called Quest, People's Instinctive Travels, and The Paths of Rhythm. I Left My Wallet in El Segundo. My brother. It's a great song, man.
It's a great song. I love it.
Pericles saying my intro into Fishbone was a favorite movie of mine. I'm gonna get you.
I want to get you, sucker.
Yep, they did a song on the soundtrack with Curtis
Mayfield.
The Fly Guy. Yep, that's right.
Oh, that's cool.
So
I didn't realize that was them though.
So yeah, everyone's heard of these guys. They have to. And
like
I said, so many of your favorite artists that came after them. You know, oh, nice, Ted, awesome. But yeah, Bonita Applebum, come on. Can I Kick It?
Yes, I can.
Yes, I can.
Yeah. And there's a song on there, an honorable mention song called Ham and Eggs. And you got to listen to it because it's hilarious. I love the song. It's not one of their favorites ones, but one of my favorites.
Very cool.
And, yep.
Low End Theory.
Pipe Dog, yep. And then the Low End Theory, this is probably the one where, like, I picked this one, so I didn't feel like I was just, like, listening to my brother's stuff, you know? So, yeah, but this had everyone knows the scenario. Everyone knows that
scenario was what introduced or debuted Busta Rhymes.
Bugging out. You know you're bugging out, and what? And then honorable mention to Verses from the Abstract. Great songs if you want to check them out. But the whole
somewhere on the interwebs in YouTube, there is a guy who takes these songs and puts like animation to them. And
oh, really?
Yeah, if you just look up a tribe named Quest and check it out. I think it's in some of the YouTube shorts, and they're pretty neat because he's doing some really cool art.
So when I was doing the research for this, I wound up just sitting up and just listening to Tribe like the rest of the night. I stayed up for another hours. Oh, Ben, nice. You're a big Mike Pat fan too. He's the lead singer of Faith No More and Mr. Bungo. He's a legend. His version of Bernard Herrmann's Cape Fear with Fantomas. Yes. And Slayer's drummer. Yes. They did an album where they just did like movie themes, old movie themes. It's a great album. You should listen to it if you like movie soundtracks and stuff.
Hey, a world made of cardboard. We have not got to Largo's pick yet, so
that's
you
right.
might see some Taylor
That's
Swift.
Right. It could just be Taylor Swift, and then the next slide, Taylor Swift, and
it could be all T Swift, yay!
Yeah. So then, what else do we got here? And these are just the albums. They have more albums. All these bands do.
But I mean, those are the best two that you pick from Tribe. I mean, you nailed it right there.
Midnight Marauders, Clap Your Hands Now. Electric Relaxation, 8 Million Stories, and honorable mention to Lyrics to Go. And I could just hear the beat already.
You hear it in your head,
yeah. Just looking at it, just talking about it.
Very cool. Oh, Ted. Another fun Aaron music fact.
I mean, this is
we had a hip hop group in the 2000s.
What was the name?
We did. Oh man.
Come on.
So there was another guy that was with us. His name was Chad. We called ourselves the Sexy Trio.
Nice.
It all started. We were at a friend's Christmas party, and the idea was you had to make a parody of a Christmas song. So we took "Here Comes Santa Claus" and we made a rap version called "Here Comes Ghetto Claus," and then the rest kind of just went from there.
Sexy Trio, and I know you sons of bitches took a picture out in the woods somewhere, or you
gotta have
that. To some place where you guys it was going to be your album cover. I know you did. We're going to see it someday.
You've met a soulmate. Ted.
Anytime, man.
Gotta do some vibing, kick it out. Bjorn's going old school on us. He says Beatles, Kiss, and AC/DC in that order.
Oh, love AC/DC.
All good choices.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. So let's talk about Taylor Swift.
Yes.
These are some of my choices.
The queen.
Indeed. Back in the day, I really liked these guys.
Nice.
Because for me, hip hop was not something that was part of my immediate culture. Like I said, grew up in a very country Western kind of sound, and got into high school and guys were listening to Houdini. I'm like, I'm digging that. The freaks do come out at night.
They do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Friends, just some good stuff. And it was, good beats, good lyrics, and they just got better as they continued. But this was the album that really hit it off for me and got me listening to hip hop and giving it a try and checking out some different stuff. And that actually kind of led me backwards into funk. I got into Parliament. I got into Zap, the Zap band. More, what was it? More Bounce for the Ounce. I'm digging that one. So it's just fun, good songs with just something you put on in the car, you crank it, you're just, I'm there.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one to start out with.
Yeah. But on the other end, I was listening to the Femmes.
Hey, love it.
When you're at that certain teenage angsty, angry point in your life where nothing makes sense, Femmes is good to put on. It's just good to let that wash over you. It's like, I'm not the only one that's angry at the world. But some of their songs were kind of violently happy, if that makes sense. I mean, they were just singing about life, man. They're just saying, this is what's going on. And it worked. I liked it. And just a cool vibe. And surprisingly, they were really popular. Let's see. What do we got here? I can't read that. I'm getting old. Forgive me, guys. Violent Femmes is the band's most successful album to date. Recording Industry Association of America, the RIAA, certified the album gold 4 years after its release, platinum 4 years after that, but it was never on the Billboard 200 albums chart.
Nice.
It's like they were not liked by the critics, obviously, but people bought this record because it was damn good,
Yep.
And back in the day, a lot of people lived and died by what Casey Kasem said or what was on Billboard. It's like, if they don't make the chart, man, I'm not buying an album. You're missing out on good tunes.
coming to you live.
Oh yeah, every week you had to listen. You got to find out what's on the top of the charts.
Yeah.
And you guys, it looks like you may have a new fan.
Yes.
For Sexy Trios.
Absolutely.
I gotta see a picture, man.
I want to see some band shirts with the screen print on there with the guys with
Island.
It's going to be good. Fun music fact about Largo: he listened to Houdini one time and met a wild schizo. Indeed. And it was a Vegas marriage, and I still have the tattoo. Oh yeah, we're talking Femmes were good. Nice. Another good one. Nice to see you, Ian. Good. Oh man, brings back some good memories of some bad times.
Oh man, that's a good top five. When you got a nice balance of really every genre.
Exactly.
I like it.
I mean, the Beatles are just classic.
Yeah.
Kiss, which I'm looking forward to that episode.
Oh yeah.
A band from Detroit. They put makeup on and said, you know what? Let's just put out some rockin' music. AC/DC, you just can never go wrong with AC/DC. NWA was the See that's your bad boys right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the baddie. And Huey Lewis in the News. I mean,
they're just fun.
Oh yeah.
Do you like Huey Lewis in the News?
That's because he watched Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Yes, it's time to go back.
It's the power of love.
And Ted's gonna.
Oh, nice! Oh, awesome, Ted.
Well, it's a good stream, guys. I'm gonna go ahead.
Oh yeah, definitely got to see that.
I can't wait.
We may not show that live because we want Aaron to come back.
No, you're fine.
Nah, I thought I knew what a love gun was until Laser Pants taught me about the heat gun, and so this is my my commemorative Laser Pants love gun now. So,
nice.
Thank you. It's all good. Mm-hmm. That's just going to be a running joke forever.
It sure is.
And Axion Fig says, I can't say much. I fronted a punk band called Kitty Meringued since we couldn't call ourselves Pushy.
I gotcha. That's great. Yeah.
I like it.
I had a band when I was a kid too, but I can't even say the name on stream. So.
Oh boy!
Come on, my show.
Moving
you can
right
say
along.
whatever you want. Oh, Van Halen, yes.
Oh, 1984, such a great album. And again, it's one of those where this was everywhere. Every song was excellent, and it made me go back and start listening to other things that the band had done previously. And sadly, David Lee Roth wasn't with them much after this. Yeah. And then we got the whole Van Hagar thing, which was cool in and of its own self, but it wasn't Van Halen. It wasn't the same sound. Mm-hmm. It was okay. But I like the old school stuff with Dave and going back to Diver Down and some of the earlier albums. Everything was good on there. And just digging it. You couldn't go anywhere in 84, 85 without hearing all this. Jump was excellent. And, Queen got me into soundtracks. I loved Highlander.
How do you not talk about Queen? I mean,
oh, yeah.
That has to be in anybody's at least top 10, no matter what.
Oh, absolutely. It's like, I'll slide over here and grab something real quick. I'll be right back if I can find the button. What button? That button?
That button?
That one. That button.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like you look at everything that Queen has done.
Mm-hmm.
And how they've revolutionized music and how many people have sampled Queen. Like it I mean it is just mind blowing.
Musical talent beyond compare, man. Absolutely. They just, like I said, I told you that my friend gave me that mixtape. It was like Red Hot Chili Peppers and Queen songs intermixed, and it was wild. And it blew my mind. So that was my first foray into it.
I feel like if you listen to Queen, like when you mentioned Queen, like there's songs that come straight to the mind, Fat Bottom Girls.
Oh yeah.
We Are the Champions. There's so many, but like it's all right there. Like I'm glad you had this on your list.
They're all good. I just pulled this up because it's like, this is the only musical action figure I have is Freddie Mercury. Because he was kind of larger than life. Such a good artist.
Oh yeah.
He made being flamboyant cool. And then Prince said, step aside. I'm going to show you how it's really done.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. But Freddie was the man back in the day, and he was bold and said, you know what? I just dance to a beat of a different drum, and you guys can either play along with me or you can stand on the sidelines. I don't care.
Absolutely.
Such a great performer, and we lost him way too soon. Mm-hmm. That's unfortunate. Yeah. But he left a great legacy. And yeah, it's another one. Every Queen album, love every song on it. Yeah. But the one that really got me into it, I watched Highlander. I loved all the music. And so I went out and found, I'm looking for the Highlander soundtrack. And they're like, there isn't one. What do you mean there isn't one? Well, there is, but there isn't. It's kind of instrumental. It's like, he's like, and then somebody turned me on. It's like, no. You want the Queen album. Yes. I'm like, oh yeah. So it's all there. And then of course, Flash Gordon. You got to have Flash.
Oh, yeah. I remember doing a book report when he died, and we were supposed to do something, and I did a report on what his death meant, to the music world. And luckily, my teacher was a huge fan. And for some reason, we made this connection. and she was nice to me forever, no matter what I did after that. It was just amazing.
Really. World Made of Cardboard says all of his 80s, 90s music revolved around theme songs. G.I. Joe, Transformers the movie, Mask, Pole Position, Jace and the Wheeled Warriors.
I mean,
some of those were catchy. Some of them were, well, you know, it was a Saturday morning thing. It's all good. Goji, good to see you. Sorry you had to work so late. Ted saying, Van Halen on a nice spring day, cruising with the windows down. That's the good life.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I like that. Like it a lot. Let's see. Let me get caught up with the chat here real quick. Ian is saying, are these favorite bands and albums or ones you consider best or most influential? Sorry, I missed the first hour. Well, we explained all of that in the first hour.
Yeah, go back to the beginning. Like, what are you doing?
I'm
Get
kidding,
caught up.
Ian. It's kind of an eclectic mix. For me, it's music that I consider most influential, or albums that I can put on the whole album and love it, or particular artists that led me down other paths musically, or just good road tripping music. So kind of, yes, all the above.
Yeah, for me, it was mostly nostalgia, and those albums kind of defined the times, those glory days, the fun days of my youth. And
Taylor Swift.
Yes. No. I would say, yeah, for real, for me, Dead Kennedys would be a guilty pleasure.
You're gonna be surprised by my answer. I'll wait though. Go ahead, Wilhelm. I'll go last.
Guilty pleasures?
Guilty pleasure.
I don't have any.
That's a lie. You have one. What is that album that's sitting next to you right now that you're like, man, someone found that, listen to this.
Wasn't that Captain and Tennille I heard earlier? Love will keep us together.
Guilty pleasure, something that I would say Weezer, probably. Weezer would be like a guilty pleasure album where like most of my friends don't even like it, and like if they were hanging out, they wouldn't let me put it on. But
Buddy Holly, man.
I actually really like it.
Hash Pipe.
So, yeah. Like I like it, and I don't care if they don't like it.
So
that's right.
I mean, I was kind of half kidding with the Taylor Swift, but like along this, like my guilty pleasure, like it's not even guilty anymore. I've kind of like openly admitted it now, but it's Selena Gomez. Selena Gomez is my guilty pleasure.
Okay. Well, I guess kind of Shakira would fall, but I don't really listen to her for the music. It's for the hips.
She does music? Like, really?
She makes me want to speak Spanish.
Yeah, very linguistic.
Indeed. The World Made of Cardboard says his wife loved the Go-Go's. Go-Go's were good. I like the Bangles better than the Go-Go's. Air Supply, they did some good stuff. Monkeys, classic. Chicago did some good stuff.
Debbie Gibson.
Debbie Gibson. Was she the one that did the mall tour kind of thing?
Yeah,
okay.
Yes. Was it her, or was that Tiffany? Tiffany did
they both
the
did
mall
it.
tour, right?
Yeah. Paula Abdul, another great dancer. REO Speedwagon, good stuff. Journey,
another good one, yeah.
Very.
I would say as I got older, a lot of those bands that back when I was younger, I'd be like, get away. I've come to say like, yeah, they're good. You know what I mean? Like there were some bands where my friends were like, don't listen to that or don't listen to this, and I would kind of let that influence me. But in later years, I've said, this really wasn't that bad. It's
Eddie Rodriguez had a cool sister. She put him on to Beastie Boys.
Oh, yeah. And mine did the opposite because she was always playing it. And I was like, I don't like it. And then, like I said,
they're funny. Their videos were hilarious. I love Sabotage. It's probably one of my favorites. Because they're just like, we're just out here doing it, man. Why not? And
we're
Mr. Wonderful in the house.
We're about to give Beastie Boys like a whole new like crowd of people. Like, where does this million views come from?
Oh, man. Good stuff. Captain is Captain is my name in the store. Yes.
Yeah, they call him Captain because he's got that hat.
Very cool. He's going to be bringing that to Joe Fest.
That's right.
So everybody saying hi? Oh, yeah. So we're caught up on the chat again.
Yes.
Whew. Just cruising right along. Where were we? We were at Queen.
Yes.
That's right.
Good stuff.
Flash.
Cruising right along. Another kind of a sleeper thing when you're, kind of in your deep and broody kind of mood.
Mm-hmm.
Just a wall of sound to wash over you. I would put this on, put my headphones on, and just wash out the day. It was just like good stuff. Some of the earlier stuff was a little bit more happy, but these two albums, when these two hit, I don't know, the sound was it just hit me at the right place. Black Celebration.
See, I listened to Black Celebration more. A buddy of mine that I used to work with, he big into Depeche Mode. So like we're at work and he throw it on and I love him to death. Like a lot of the stuff that I listened to in that like early 2000s was because of him. Like I didn't really get into like, we talked about Metallica and like, all that, but like he got me into like Megadeth and like Anthrax and all that. I'm like, I may have gotten there eventually, but like he's like, you're here 10 hours a day. I'm introducing you to today. This is all day Megadeth.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, I love it.
And that's the thing. It's like once you find something in a particular genre that you like, somebody's got like 3 other artists are like, if you like these guys, then you got to check out this, this, and this. And you're like, okay. So always good.
If you don't mind, can you pull up Jeremy's thing real quick? The one that says WWF.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
As everyone knows, clearly, I am a gigantic wrestling fan. But there was a brief time where they came out with like an album of all like the WWF wrestling entrance musics. Like
nice.
Volume 4 was by far the best collection of songs on an album. But like you could pick any version of them. They were all good. Whether you were, in the golden age, you had the Hulk Hogan's, the Real American to, modern day Undertaker, D-Generation X, Stone Cold. Like it was all good. Oh my God. I'm glad that I saw that in the chat.
Do they have Hillbilly Jim's? Don't go messing with the country boy.
I'd have to look at it. It might. Okay. I'm pretty sure somewhere on one of those random ones.
Those guys, whether it's the promoters or the wrestlers, whoever chose those anthems that they would come out to, man, they knew how to get the crowd going.
Jim Johnson was his name before he got removed. Had a great idea for music.
Cool. Bjorn has. I just had a sweet idea for a new hat. I just need to find someone to make it. I'm almost afraid to ask. Is it majestic? Something majestic, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And let me go through here and see what else we got going.
You're on Depeche Mode, right?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just catching up with the chat. And back to Masked Crusaders working overtime, fighting crime. The fact that you know the lyrics is impressive.
Listen, okay, guilty pleasure, the Gummy Bears theme song from the Disney's cartoon Gummy Bears.
That's a good one.
I love that one, man. Oh my God,
it was so catchy
everywhere. Yeah,
I like some good big band stuff and some swing. Glenn Miller, classic.
Absolutely, yeah,
can't go wrong there. And if it doesn't have the WrestleMania Fighting to Survive song, it doesn't matter. Fair enough.
Yeah. I'll give you that one.
Oh man, we're having too much fun tonight. Oh, we got another great list here from Ian. The Smiths, Billy Bragg, Macon Clancy, Willie Nelson, Pogues, Guilty Pleasure we've talked about.
Tom Jones, that's a good one.
Yeah. I liked his version of Kiss when he remade that, the remix kind of sound. His old school stuff, pretty good. It's not unusual.
Not at all.
To be loved
by anyone.
Indeed. And he would know. He's from Wales. World made a cardboard. Sometimes he's going. He's still going.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
You got the touch.
It's going to be very majestic. It's going to be a tiger print.
Ooh.
But instead of an anchor patch, it's going to have a pink flower.
Interesting.
That's deep.
Right.
Very, very haiku in a hat. It's a haiku hat.
It's tiger print, but with a pink flower.
That's right.
All right.
So yeah,
Tom Jones is going to be performing at a casino.
Ooh.
Very cool. He's still performing.
Nice.
I didn't know he was still doing lives.
I didn't either.
Oh, good Lord. He knows the words of that one too.
High adventure
Right.
that's beyond compare.
That's a song that's like stuck. It's in there. It ain't coming out.
Oh my god.
y'all got to watch some better Saturday morning stuff. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, that's all I had.
My guitar student asked for Redbone. Okay.
Nice.
Come get your love. Very cool. Yeah. Digging it. All right, let's get through the list before we run out of time here. So Depeche Mode, again, another one. I still listen to these guys, especially when I'm working on something. You just want something in the background. I love this stuff. Yes is kind of in that, for me as well. This was a very unusual album, though, because it wasn't really the Yes sound that people knew. I mean, with 90125, it was a newer sound. They were putting some new band members together. A lot of the old guys had left. And I went back and listened to some of the stuff from the 70s, and it's like, it didn't even sound like the same band. Totally different sound, totally different vibe. Not bad, just totally different. But Yes, in the 80s were really hitting it with Big Generator. A couple of good albums that they put out with that newer sound. And Owner of a Lonely Heart was probably the one that everybody knows.
Yeah.
So very good stuff.
That's great. I love when bands kind of do something different, reinvent themselves. If it's not, mass appeal, usually there's something great inside there. And I feel like those bands have something deeper to say.
Oh, yeah. My first rubbing elbows with fame came with Yes. I was in Pensacola, Florida. And I was with a buddy of mine, and he had just come back from I don't remember where he'd gone, but I picked him up at the airport. He's like, "You'll never believe who I just met." I'm like, "Who?" "John Anderson." I'm like, "Who?" It's like, "John Anderson from Yes." I don't know. And he's just like, "Yeah, he was on the plane. He was sitting next to me, and we were talking, and I didn't, I didn't really think about it at the time, but just told him, yeah, I like Yes. I've been listening to him. My dad got me into the band when you guys were back in the day." And he's like, "Well, we're doing a concert here in Pensacola. I'm flying in for it. We're doing the reunion tour. Give me your information, and I'll get you some backstage passes." And sure enough, he did. So my buddy,
I can't be that lucky.
Me either, but my buddy Danny, he was the man. He got us backstage passes, and he invited me to go with him. I got to meet John Anderson. We got to watch him rehearse, and I would say the rehearsal was actually better than the concert because they were doing some stuff in the sets in the rehearsal they didn't do for the concert. And it was just, man, it was so cool. I'd never been, to watch a sound check and do all that stuff. So we got to go the night before, and there was only like maybe 100 people there who had also gotten backstage passes and, so that kind of stuff. And then the concert the next day was good, but the better experience was that night before. So I had fun. So of course after that I'm like, okay, I got to listen to everything. Yes. And again, another classic.
Yes.
I can put on any album, any era of the Cars, and it's just good. It's just good fun. Wall of sound, put it on, let it go, and go do what you got to do. So the videos too. They ruled MTV when Heartbeat City came out. Every video was a banger. I don't know who was making them. I'm sure, if I scratch the surface.
Like I said, due to my older sister, MTV was always on unless someone else fought her for control. And I would see a lot of these early videos constantly.
One thing I didn't know, but I realized when I was pulling this up, Andy Warhol actually made a little cameo appearance in one of the Cars videos back in the 80s. I don't remember which one. It might have been Magic, but I'd have to check. So
I'm just going to see that one.
Yeah, guys have to look for it. Easter egg. I mean, everybody knows Purple Rain, but when he put out this album, I mean, I got the soundtrack, I got the instrumental. I'm a big Danny Elfman fan. We'll talk about him in a minute. But I picked this up just for the cover. I saw this at the record store. I'm like, I'm having this. And then I put it on, and there were some cuts on there. I was like, oh man, yeah. It was interesting, and
it was a different side of Prince that you didn't really get to see. Like
Yeah.
this is like more like of his creative side than it is like the traditional Prince music that you would see on his like studio albums.
Exactly. And it's not like, I don't think he was really going for anything commercial here. He was just saying, all right, you want me to give you the feel and experience of this movie. And he took clips from the movie sounds and put it into the album, interspersed among the songs. And it was like, it's a whole experience in itself. It's like if Prince was directing the Batman movie and used this, it would have been a very different thing.
Oh yeah.
It would have been cool.
Well, that Bat Dance video, when I first saw it, I was like, what the hell?
So trippy.
Yeah, what's going on? You know? And, but I will say, yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God, everything.
Priscilla said it
gotta
best.
be in
Gentlemen,
awe of his music.
let's broaden your minds. Lawrence?
Indeed.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Great
it.
stuff. He definitely added something to that whole experience. I mean, the film was good in and of itself. It was huge in '89.
Mhm.
Everybody was into that. But this album from Prince was really cool. And with the exception of one or two songs, it wasn't really used that much in the film.
No.
A lot of stuff that was on this was just deep cuts. It was good.
Mm-hmm.
And a little factoid I didn't know. Originally, Prince was meant to do this as a collaboration with himself and Michael Jackson.
I didn't know that. No.
I can only imagine. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Two great musical minds. Oh man, that would have won every award and then some.
Oh yeah, what could have been. So, no guts, no glory. Take a stand, ready to prove it again. Do you know that one, Wilhelm?
I don't. I'm not. It's not coming to me. But I'm sure if he was singing it, I probably would have. I would get it.
I'm honestly shocked that Aaron didn't have Prince on his list. If he and I were a couple on a game show, I would have lost.
I mean, honestly, like it is. I thought of, like I said, there's so many.
Oh yeah,
like Prince, Michael Jackson, the Beatles. I thought about putting on there. I mean, there are so many artists in my list. I wish I could have added, but like a lot of them are like some are self-explanatory. You say Michael Jackson, and like pick an era. Pick an era of Michael Jackson. It's all good. Even up to like his
even the Jackson 5 stuff.
Oh yeah.
And then of course Danny Elfman.
Oh yeah.
I love everything Danny Elfman.
Oh yeah.
And again, this is where I really tied in movie and soundtrack and started listening to composers, realizing there's a bigger world of music out there. These guys that put these scores together for these films, they do phenomenal work. And so I started picking up soundtracks, and I started with yeah, absolutely. And even some of the TV soundtracks, like what was his name? Alexander Courage, that did Star Trek and some other stuff, just led me down a whole different rabbit hole. So, and there was a very definite Elfman sound, especially when he was hanging with Tim Burton. When Tim Burton and Danny Elfman would get together, something cool was going to happen. So I started with, Batman, and then I just put a list because you can't pick one album with these guys.
Right.
Beetlejuice, Big Fish, which is maybe not one a lot of people know. Great film, interesting music. One of his more modern ones. Darkman. I don't know.
Love Darkman. Who is Darkman? I remember the ad campaign.
Liam Neeson.
Such hype.
Good stuff.
Every bus that went by had a "Who is Darkman" poster. Every billboard. Everywhere.
Favorite Christmas album, Scrooged, Danny Elfman.
Oh, sure.
The Men in Black. I mean, everybody knows that song. The theme from that, Sleepy Hollow. Great music in that. Good movie. Nacho Libre was Danny Elfman.
Got me there.
Yeah, I didn't realize that he did that. No,
I didn't either.
And then you put one on here. Wanted. Yeah. He sings. Isn't that him actually singing that song? Which I enjoyed.
The theme song.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. It might be because he is a singer. He was in Oingo Boingo. The Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, he did that.
I did know that. Yep.
And Hellboy 2. So any of those are great. You can't really go wrong with a Danny Elfman soundtrack. So those are just some of my favorites off the top of my head. But you can't talk about Danny Elfman without talking about Oingo Boingo.
Yeah.
Another quirky
Weird Science.
Yeah, Weird Science was their big hit, but a lot of their stuff was really good. What I didn't know is the band Oingo Boingo actually started life as a musical theater troupe. They would actually put on live performances, and then some of the members of that troupe went into the band when Danny decided, hey, we're going to do a rock band. And they're good. If you haven't heard anything but Weird Science, check them out. Dead Man's Party is another great one. All their stuff's good. If you like Danny Elfman's sound, this is where he really honed that sound in, was leading Oingo Boingo. And he does a lot of the vocals here, and they're good.
I am really interested, because I really like that.
And getting back to composers, James Horner. Some people like him. Some people call him a hack. I like his stuff. Star Trek Wrath of Khan, Star Trek 2. That got me into James Horner. And then there was an obscure Sean Connery movie he did called The Name of the Rose. It's kind of a murder mystery. Good movie. Obviously good soundtrack. Zorro with the Banderas version. Great stuff. Aliens. All the music in that, James Horner. And the newer version of The Amazing Spider-Man, he did that too, which I really enjoyed. So that's just, again, this is not by any means any kind of an exhaustive list from any of us. It's just top of our head.
Definitely
we'll put
some familiar things, some shared interests, and some paths to go down ourselves. So,
Yep. Danny Elfman did do the Simpsons theme. That's right. A lot of Springfield music was Danny Elfman. Also, the Batman animated TV show that was inspired from Danny Elfman's Batman '89.
Nice.
And I think some of Elfman's music was actually used in the cartoon. I'd have to double check that. Somebody square me on that. And World Made of Cardboard, No Guts, No Glory, The Adventures of the Galaxy Rangers. That was the song he was quoting.
Yes.
Galaxy Rangers, man.
The Jim Freeze, I think he did.
He did.
He'll probably be back, but So No Guts, No Glory. Jeremy J. The Simpsons theme as well. Westworld.
That first season had a fantastic soundtrack.
Yep, and Big Fish was an incredible movie. It absolutely was. I cried like a baby. World Made of Cardboard saying, there would be no great movie music without John Williams.
That is so true. So I have an honorable mention, probably one that a lot of people haven't heard of. So there is a collaboration album that they did. It is called what is it? Bob Marley. It's a Bob Marley type album, but it's called Chant Down Babylon.
Down Babylon?
Yep. So they took all the classic Bob Marley songs and remixed them with a lot of the some R&B and rap artists, Lauryn Hill, Busta Rhymes. It's a very good listen. If you like Bob Marley, you like that 90s rap, hip hop, R&B time frame, give that a listen.
And I have an honorable mention too, and that is the movie Judgment Night, the soundtrack, which was they melded rap and hip hop with rock and metal bands, and you've got Onyx and Biohazard. I don't know if you ever mentioned Onyx. Back the Fuck Up was their album. Great album.
Yes.
But Onyx and Biohazard, you had Slayer and Ice-T, you had Faith No More and Booyah Tribe. Helmet and House of Pain. So many great songs. Cypress Hill, we didn't even mention, which is amazing band. And you had what was the other one? Busta Rhymes.
I was gonna say Offspring was good.
Yeah, but Pearl Jam and Cypress Hill did a song on that album. Such great music. Just one of those albums that just never gets old for me.
Yeah. Eddie brings up a good point. Busta Rhymes is an artist that you talk about great when it comes to music videos. Him and Missy Elliott, those two ran the 90s when it came to music videos.
Yeah,
they had
De La Soul.
De La Soul's another one.
Yeah, that's another one. Just great. And Busta Rhymes, Leaders of the New School was where he got his start. Go check them out.
Well, I mean,
LONS, right?
He really got his start from. We just talked about it before. It was Tribe.
Oh, Tribe Called Quest. Yeah.
That was his first intro.
Okay.
So you had the.
So Shirley Walker was a composer for the animated series, but she did use some of Elfman's themes. So now we know. Shirley Walker. Yeah. Good to know. Well, kids, we're at an hour and a half. We're way over our normal list, but I was having a good time.
Yeah,
I'm really enjoying hanging and talking.
And we could go on and on and on and on.
Oh, yeah.
Hours of talking about music.
Definitely. And with the chat popping in and also sparking some memories of some other great tunage, this was a good idea.
Yeah,
we will revisit this another time, put together some other playlists, and we'll see what we can come up with. So thank you, everyone. Let's see what we've got here from Ben. You guys have great taste. Well, thank you. Much of which I know and love, and also getting some good tips for good stuff I've missed. Also need to rewatch the first half hour because I missed most of Dark Knight. Well, that's why we record it and put it on the YouTubers. So thanks for hanging out with us, Ben. And we did kind of sort of mention Weird Al.
We did.
Weird Al.
Yes. Bad Hair Day. We talked about it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ted.
And thanks for all the tidbits about Aaron.
And thank you, Aaron. Great conversation.
Awesome. Thank you for letting me be on
with you.
And it was a lot of fun.
And, so much fun.
And just shameless plug. Go to Hello Dope Toys. Buy some goodies. They got lots of cool stuff. They got all the stuff you like.
That's and pre-orders again. Go ahead and click it. Yeah.
So Hello Dope will be on Sunday. Anything else coming up?
No, not that I know of. Actually, we're gonna be working on a new kind of a short form series coming up. So we're gonna start recording, I think, this Thursday on just kind of building a business. You know, you can watch a lot of YouTube videos and they kind of tell you like the professional way, but they don't really tell you like the stuff that we will tell you. So like anybody that's trying to start something, get ready for that video. We're going to kind of release them weekly, I think. But yeah, just kind of like all about starting out a business. Wrong link tree, by the way.
Oh, is it?
Uh-oh.
Yes. Use the hella dope one.
Oh, the hella dope one.
Yeah, I won't fault you there. It's okay. All right. But yeah, get ready for that. Like I said, this Sunday we will be live just like we are every Sunday. We have a random diorama going to be live. So anybody that's trying to figure out the secrets behind building dioramas, that'll be the show to watch.
Ooh, nice,
cool.
Nice.
That sounds like a lot of fun. You guys always have great guests, and you are great guests. So we appreciate having you guys. You and Ted, maybe we'll get you guys both in here, and you can duke it out and tell old stories on each other. Because it's, when he's at home sniping you, that's, you're going to have to get back at him.
Oh, don't worry. I will. It's coming.
That's great. Sexy Trio, people. Check it out on Instagram. Make sure
Sexy Trio doubling with Sexual Chocolate coming to a concert.
Man, that boy good.
Oh, man. This was a lot of fun. Thank you again, Aaron. Thank you, Wilhelm. Thank you, chat. I'm going to go get another tasty beverage and try to find whatever's left over in the fridge. So
there it is.
Enjoy your evening, kids.
Awesome.
All right. See you guys.
See ya.